why the Battlefield 6 beta is overrated. Now, I think we all can agree that the BF6 beta was, generally speaking, a success, and it did had, in my opinion, a lot of hype around it. And to be fair, if we only count just the game, Battlefield 6, I think, at a certain extent, that it does deserve that hype. But in reality, for me, I don't think DICE specifically deserves this hype, not only because of their past, but because what they did to Battlefield 6. Now, before I start the review, I just want to let you guys know that I did enjoy the beta to a certain extent. I think this game is much better than both Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042. So that's a good sign. Even though those two games weren't that great, still, it's a very good sign. But I want to start with the negatives, and, you know, there are quite a few that I believe DICE should be able to fix. That's one of the reasons why I think this game has a lot of potential. And the first one is the difference between closed weapons and open weapons. But the thing specifically for me isn't exactly the difference itself, but the reason that DICE made it feel like the open weapon playlist or mode was the main one, when in reality, when you play both, at least for me, it felt like the open weapon system. It felt like a custom game, especially with the way people run around and use their weapon, because at some point you see a support player, or at least he apparently looks like a support player, but you know, he is not going to play like a support player because he can use any other weapon. So that really changes the way you approach things, and it kind of makes the game a little bit random to me. And generally speaking, the closed weapon playlist was the one where I felt like I was more in control over the game, because the predictability factor was, you know, more accurate, let's put it that way. But still, what I want to emphasize here is the fact that, like, from the entire beta, it felt like they wanted to make the open weapon, you know, mode the main thing, and that's what it felt like. Now, to be completely honest with you guys, I think generally speaking, this is actually a good thing, you know, having both modes, so that everyone can play the game the way they want to. But for Battlefield specifically, yeah, the closed weapon is, you know, it's a must. It's basically classic Battlefield. It's Battlefield, right? So yeah, that's the first thing I want to talk about. And I really hope they, you know, I honestly don't really know how they're gonna fix this, because having both is great, but for me as a Battlefield player, I rather just have the classic mode, the closed weapon. It's what they call, right? So yeah, that's the first thing. And the second thing I want to talk about here is the fact that there is no server browser. And what irritates me even more is the fact that DICE is actively trying to figure out a way to not have a server browser on a Battlefield game. Like, Battlefield, one of the reasons Battlefield is known for is to have a server browser. Like, it's part of the DNA of Battlefield, and they are trying to actively not having it. Also, they made this, which is an improvement, but still, I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. They added this custom search, which was broken, by the way. Like, it would only find you a game before 3 seconds, so if you surpassed the 3 seconds, like, you would not get a game, so we would wait for a very long time, right? But yeah, it's a beta, I understand. I'm also very happy that they decided to, you know, make the beta like 2 months before the release of the game. So that's really good. But still, we need to have a server browser for both Portal and official servers. There is no way around this. So DICE, please, for the love of God, give us a server browser. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here, it's something that, it was the thing that irritated me the most. And, you know, this is just DICE being DICE, in my opinion. They can never turn off their own nature, let's put it that way. So, why the fuck does the assault class has a secondary weapon? Especially a shotgun. So, okay, I just want to let you guys know that even if you see gameplay, I was actually using the assault class with a pistol, because I wanted to play with the assault class the right way, right? I feel like it's just too broken. Having two primary weapons, it doesn't matter what class it is, that class automatically becomes just overpowered, in my eyes, in my opinion, okay? I think pistols are part of Battlefield, and I did definitely notice that because the pistol was not very good. Anyways, so yeah, remove the primary weapon for the secondary slot, whatever, and give us a healing pouch. Now, I really don't know how they're going to be able to do this, because, again, we might have that when the game fully launches, because remember, guys, this was just a beta. So, we can't really give a full review on everything, because we don't have all the options here. But the truth is, like, having a secondary on the assault class as a primary, it's fucking broken. So, please, guys, remove this. So yeah, that's that. And since we're on it, let's talk a little bit about the shotgun. I kind of feel like they didn't test this enough, even with Battlefield Labs. What's the point? And to be completely honest with you guys, if there was a possibility for DICE to just remove shotguns entirely, I would absolutely go all for it. Because I feel like shotguns on Battlefield are, you know, they have been kind of broken, you know? They have always been kind of broken in my opinion. So having a game without them, I wouldn't mind it, you know. I understand that the casuals want to use it, and, you know, it's kind of like free kills, basically, but I wouldn't mind it at all. Just putting that out there, you know. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here, which is something I'm very sad with, is the fact that Rush is back. I'm not sad because it's back, but I'm sad because it's with 12 players. Why 12? Why are they changing this? They did the same for Breakthrough, but to be honest, I actually kind of like that change specifically for Breakthrough. But yeah, I don't know why they're changing these things. I don't like them. And I honestly think that the Rush problem is just the player count. Just give us the original number, and I feel like it's going to be a lot more fun. I felt like I was playing Team Deathmatch with sectors, and I know this sounds weird, but yeah. I feel like I was playing, you know, like an 8v8 mode with a huge map, you know what I mean? It didn't feel right at all. So yeah, that's that. Now the next thing I want to talk about here is the TTK and TTD inconsistency. This has to do with the network, but this was really bad. It's funny because, you know, on the events, people were saying that the TTK was very Battlefield 3-ish. I don't think that at all. I think it's slightly longer, which is really good. Like, I think that is how it's supposed to be. Now the TTD, you know, it felt like you were dying by a sniper all the time, right? And talking about snipers, why the fuck is Sweet Spot back? Only to, you know, help the casuals, I would say. But yeah, I know I'm gonna say this, some people might not agree with me, but I think the Battlefield 5 sniping was the best thing about the game, and just give us that sniping system back. No sweet spot, low body damage. So yeah, just give us that back, please. I would highly appreciate that. And the last thing I'm very not happy with is jump shotting in Battlefield 6. What were they thinking? But again, this is related to that Drunksy already mentioned. So I am not sure if they fixed it. You know, I have not been following this that much, to be really honest with you guys, but you know, it kind of felt the same from the first weekend of the beta. And yeah, jump shotting in Battlefield 6 feels horrible. I mean, it's the worst thing ever. I don't like it at all. What I do is I jump and then I slide. That works much better. But still, yeah, please. Like, bunny hopping is basically useless, to be completely honest with you guys. I kind of feel like the movement, generally speaking, you know, like, the movement for me, it's something that I like and I dislike, but in reality, I really don't like it that much. I wish it was faster. You really cannot, like, you can technically outplay your opponent, but it's very easy for the opponent that is facing you to kill you. So the movement is useless and useful at the same time, if that makes sense. So yeah, the movement is a very tricky one for me, but you know, for a Battlefield game, again, I think it's fine. So those were the reasons why I think DICE does not deserve the hype around Battlefield 6. Again, not only because of their past, because if we count the past alone, they don't deserve it at all, okay? I remember the past very well. And yeah, those were the reasons why I believe DICE don't deserve the hype. And now I want to talk about the things I like about Battlefield 6. So yeah, let's start with the maps, because my god, I am loving the direction of this. You can clearly see that they did put effort into the maps. I have already talked about this. I personally think that maps are very, very important for a Battlefield game. If you have a Battlefield game with bad gameplay and good maps, that is going to be more popular, generally speaking, than a Battlefield game with good gameplay and bad maps, okay? I feel like the maps have... It's extremely important. And you can really see that with Battlefield 2042. I mean, Battlefield 2042 have everything wrong. Worst FPS of all time. But again, just imagine if that game had actually good maps, right? It would still be bad, don't get me wrong, but the difference would be huge. You know, a new game with good maps, good new maps, okay, right? Still, it would be horrible, but you get the point, right? I think maps are very important, so yeah, I'm very happy with the fact that you can clearly see they did put some effort into it. So yeah, let's get into my favorite maps. The first one was definitely Siege of Cairo, I think that's how you pronounce it. The second one was Empire State, the third one was Liberation Peak, and the fourth one was Iberian Offensive. Now, I have nothing against these maps. I think all of them they all have their own essence, let's put it that way. And all of these four maps are well made. And again, this is the thing. I'm very happy with the fact that DICE is giving us variety and good quality variety. Let's put it that way. Now, I understand that people are saying that they want bigger maps. I get it. But for me personally, you know, I think Liberation Peak and Empire State are a good... I'm not gonna say... They're definitely not big, but they're kind of like the sweet spot for a Battlefield map. I think Empire State, people think it's small because they don't use 25% of the map when they're playing Conquest. So, you know, I can understand that, but I think the size, it's all of these maps are very close to the sweet spot. And if you think about it, the most popular maps are small maps. So, yeah, just to let you guys know that. I prefer small maps over big maps, even though I understand that big maps are part of Battlefield. But yeah, I just want to leave this right here. If you didn't like Empire State, get good. Oh, okay, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but I feel like, you know, Empire State was a map where you could showcase some of your, you know, flanking skills and aiming skills. Let's put it that way. And I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, there was some times where, you know, it was impossible to do anything. Because in some cases, like, if you position yourself in a bad way, you're basically fucked. You're open, like, anyone can shoot you anywhere, basically. But, yeah, if you play it right, yeah, man, I think it's a very underrated map, in my opinion. So yeah, the next positive thing I want to talk about, which is a honorable mention, is reviving. My god. The dragging thing, it's so cool for both gameplay and aesthetics. I think I really like it. Like, they nail this, literally. And I think reviving in this game, I just love the fact that it is so easy to revive people, if that makes sense. And I really, really like that. I think the defibrillator, how do you say it? I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry. But you get the point. I think that thing, right, I think it needs some work. I think it feels a little bit clunky in my opinion. But besides that, man, reviving and getting out of vehicles and all that, no animations, it's perfect. I really like it. And yeah, the last thing is the gunplay. You know, I think the gunplay is much better than both BF5 and 2042. I hate jump shotting. And, you know, I feel like sometimes you really can't control the weapon. But I have nothing huge negative related to the gunplay. I think the way it is, it's fine now. So yeah, guys, Hope you liked the review. Generally speaking, I really enjoyed the beta. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it deserves that, especially if I compare it to the previous games, you know. It's a 7.5. I think it's great. I think the beta is much better than the entirety of 2042, as an example. So yeah, that's that. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the Empire State map. What do you think of the game, generally speaking, of my thoughts, my opinions? Again, the two things that are probably the most controversial here is the fact that, you know, I like Empire State, and the fact that the movement, they need to buff it, basically. That's just my opinion. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and wish you an amazing rest of the day. Thank you.